Hi everyone, it's Anne from the Lake Hazel branch, and today I'm going to show you a super easy, super delicious recipe for homemade brownies. Once you learn it, you won't need box brownie mix ever again. So the first thing we need to do is gather our ingredients. What's great about this recipe is that most of the stuff is probably already in your pantry. So you're going to need a package of chocolate chips. It says bittersweet here, but I just use the semi-sweet ones. 8 tablespoons of butter, which is just a stick of butter. Cocoa powder, sugar, 3 eggs, vanilla, coarse sea salt. If you don't have that, you can just use regular salt, and a cup of flour. Once you have all your ingredients, you'll need to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Then line an 8x8 pan with aluminum foil and grease it using either cooking spray, or if you don't have cooking spray, you can use butter too. So now that your pan is prepped, you're going to want to set that aside, and the next step will be to melt the chocolate. So the original recipe, which is, there's a link at the end of this, it calls for just using the microwave to melt and doing it in 30-second intervals and stirring it each time. You can do it that way, but I prefer to do it on the stovetop just so I'm not constantly messing with the microwave. So for the stovetop melting method, you're going to add the package of chocolate chips, the cocoa powder, and the butter to a saucepan. So you can see in the picture that I put the butter in without cutting it into pieces. I do not recommend that. It takes a lot longer for it to melt. So cut the butter into pieces first, and then you're going to just let the ingredients melt together on medium heat and just stirring constantly, because it's really easy to burn chocolate when you're trying to melt it. So you don't want the heat too high, and you want to be stirring it until you get a nice smooth melted chocolate. And once everything is melted together, take it off the heat and let it cool slightly. While your chocolate mixture is cooling, you're going to want to mix together your sugar, salt, and your other wet ingredients. So go ahead and add your sugar, salt, eggs, and vanilla to a large mixing bowl and beat it all together for about 30 seconds. And next we're going to take that melted chocolate mixture and we're going to add it to the wet ingredients, and then we're just going to beat it together until it's nice and smooth. Now add your flour and mix everything together until there are no streaks of flour in the batter. Pour the batter into the greased pan, and then you're going to want to smooth it into the corners and just make sure that everything is nice and even so that you'll have brownies that are all about the same thickness when everything is baked. And then you're going to want to put it in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. I know on my oven it takes the full 40 minutes, but it's probably good to set the timer for 35 minutes and then check it to see if it needs longer. So you can check your brownies to see if they're done by putting a toothpick in the center and then pulling it out. And if there's a lot of batter still on the toothpick, when you pull it out, then the brownies need to bake longer. I would add about 5 minutes to it if there's a lot of batter still on the toothpick. If there's just a little bit, then your brownies are ready. And you'll just want to let them cool before you cut them into pieces, and then they are ready to eat. So one thing I really love about this recipe is that it's kind of like a blank canvas. They are super delicious and fudgy and wonderful by themselves, but you could also add kind of whatever you want to this recipe. So here are some ideas. Here are some things I've done in the past. You could do nuts, peanut butter chips, toffee pieces, caramel, frosting. In fact, in the original recipe that I've linked to, the recipe is actually for German chocolate brownies, so it includes a recipe for coconut pecan frosting. If you are feeling adventurous, you could add that to the top of your brownies. All right, that's all I have for you today. For more teen stuff, you can check out our website on Thursdays or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Next week, we will be doing Jackbox Games live on Zoom, so call or email your branch to get the Zoom link. Thanks for watching, everyone.